Tough game. We battled. I thought that was there was some fun in that game as far as just the back and forth element, and we were right in it till the end. And so I love the way our guys responded. We didn't start very well, in all three. Certainly on defense and on offense, we certainly did not start well. But our guys battled, and I love the way our guys responded. I thought coming out of the second half, you just felt a little bit of an energy of, okay, let's go turn this thing up a little bit more. And so offensively got the score, and then defense I thought settled in, just played some really good football in the second half. I thought special teams, we did some good stuff, and so. As frustrating as this loss is, and these, they're tough. There's nothing easy about losing. I love the way our guys battled, and I love the way the positives that are coming out of this game are going to be able to be built off of. So
specifically to Tyler, would you think that?
Yeah, I thought, if he, lean in that second half. Obviously, the first half we just didn't do enough at all, and so second half I thought he battled, hung in there. I thought there were some big time plays in there. Some resiliency. I think that's certainly a big thing that came out of that game for him. There'll be plenty of lessons to learn, and I think that'll be the good out of this thing for Tyler. Is there'll be plenty of things that he'll get to correct and improve from. But for him to be right in there at the end, give us a chance. Make a couple big time plays in the red zone. To score both those touchdowns in the red zone. Obviously, give us a chance at the end.
A 2nd and 1 shot at the end of the game. You guys get the look? Is that what you guys wanted?
Yeah, I just felt like a 2nd and 1, because you have the 2 potential downs behind it if you need to. Take a shot. It's going to be our best chance of getting a one-on-one opportunity downfield. The longer that drive goes, the more likely they're going to start playing with 2 deep safeties and 3 deep safeties. And so I felt like it was an ideal time just to take a shot, see if we can get it. We're close, and then obviously the 3rd and 4th down, didn't turn out our way either.
Was that the same play you guys ran against Carolina?
No, it was just, this one was just straight calling 4 verts and just told Tyler, take a shot if you got it. It's 2nd and 1. We still had the timeout in our pocket, and so let's be aggressive and see if we can get this one right now.
What's the process like for y'all in terms of building off of that really strong second half and trying to translate it to the beginning of the next game? What do you have to do in between those 2 things?
I think it's a big focus for us. If you can replicate what the second half felt like, looked like, played like, and we get that going earlier in the game, I think we have a formula right there that we can lean into. And so, the first half, simply we just didn't get it done. I got to do a better job of finding the path to allow ourselves to play better in that first half. We didn't execute or give ourselves as many opportunities as we needed to.
What's the approach to creating that feel? You talk about creating that same feel that you had in the second half and the first half. How do you go about it?
I think it's just something we just need to talk about and create the urgency early in the game to get going. And so, they had that opening drive touchdown, and then 4 of our first 5 drives are 3 and outs. And so, what it looked like in the second half, we need to remind ourselves of that moving forward and really put that at the forefront of our mind, and do whatever psychological game, individually you have to play to create that.
Can I ask a dumb question? Why is it? Why can't you just flip it on its head? You know what I mean? Obviously, it's not that easy, and there's a lot that goes into it. But as an idiot, that's kind of the question that's in my head right now.
No, and it's in everyone's head, I think, is just how do you replicate what that second half looked like into the first half. And again, we just have to find that, because obviously that's been a thing that we've stumbled a little bit with some early starts in these games. And again, it's it takes all of us just coming together and playing a little bit better, coaching a little bit better early in games, and giving ourselves opportunities, because there's a bunch of good second half football throughout a number of these games that we put ourselves behind a little bit too much.
So ask what the contested catch is from him, just as a guy with quarterback experience yourself. Is that a trust that you can build between quarterback and wide receiver in any other way than just doing it during a game, or how do you go about building it?
No question. I think you earn those opportunities as you go, and he's been a very productive player for a couple of years now in the NFL. I think he's going to have a big role in our offense moving forward for quite a while, and so I feel great about him. I'm excited with where he's going. I thought, his combination of doing some of the dirty work in the run game and then creating some of these hard down pass game stuff certainly showed up.
his instincts on the scramble drill like as good as they seem like there's a lot of that last year, and then that one on the sideline, it looked like he was just like saw him out of there before like he even broke the puck.
Yeah, he had two really good ones in the game. The one on the sideline with the drag, catch drag, and then the touchdown late. His ability to quickly redirect, find the green grass. I did think that was something that was really good from our game. Chris had the one for a touchdown as well, and so guys quickly recognizing, okay, we're in the second phase of a play. Let's find green grass. Taysom had one in the third quarter on the sideline. I thought there were some positives out of that.
What's the balance on that? Like, do you want a quarterback that's like comfortable leaving like a clean pocket because he feels like he can create something, or do you want him to stay in there until like it's time to go? Like, how do you balance that?
I think the intent's always to, execute the initial play, and so you're always trying to fight that element of how can we, win the initial play, recognizing there's going to be off-schedule plays, and you're going to have to do it. Ideally, as much as you can when you can stay in the pocket and execute, and let's play ball from that confined space. And so, but again, these quarterbacks are going to have to make really quick split decisions. They're going to have to trust their instincts, and you got to make some positive plays out of it when you do have that opportunity.
When you see Tyler operate as well as he did in the no huddle in the fourth quarter, do you think more about maybe going tempo earlier in the game, or is that strictly dictated by the game situation?
I think you got to earn some first downs to get to tempo. Last week we tried to, second play of the game, we went with the intent of playing a bunch of tempo the week before, and, we had a fumble on the second play, and then we had some 3 and outs in there. And so I think when you earn first downs, you earn the right to play with tempo. And then, obviously there's a lot of positives with that. I think that's something that's definitely a strong suit for our players. I think there's a high comfort level there. But again, going 3 and out and taking 12 seconds off the clock isn't going to be effective for our entire team. But when we earn the right to get into it, I think absolutely we need to do it.
What was it about Evan Hull that maybe that he showed maybe throughout the week that allowed him to kind of propel up in this game?
Yeah, really have liked his progression. Hopped in here, I think scout team is always a fun experience just because guys get a chance to just go out there and play, trust their instincts, and kind of just improve and get better. And he was one of those guys, he kind of just hopped out there and scout team, and our first week with him is kind of like there's something here. The next week, more and more production. It just, you can sense it. And then his preparation was really, really on point that allowed him to be prepared and ready to go. And so felt like, he's got some juice. He's got some big play potential ability, which I think is intriguing for us. We need to create some of those in the run game. So I think giving him a couple ops, it gives us at least, an opportunity for that. And I thought there were some good runs in there. He ran downhill pretty physical, and he was clean in protection. He had one really good blitz pickup, and so there's some positives there.
You believe in the concept of having a number 1 receiver?
What about it?
Like, do you believe in kind of having one, or is it just the ball gets spread around? Like, is it important to have like a star receiver you can go to?
I guess the way I'd answer that is you want to put your players in the best position to be successful. When you have really premier players, you try and move them around and get them the ball as much as you can by play design. Now, from a quarterback's perspective, read it out, trust what you see, let your instincts take over. And so, I think it's, anytime you have players like that can impact games in all, a bunch of different positions, awesome, and I think Chris has done some really productive things playing in a bunch of different roles, and, Vay's stepped up this week, and so that's been awesome, and Tip's, gone from no snaps to 50-some snaps for a couple weeks in a row now, and he's doing really well. So I feel like that group's, progressing well.
We've asked you a lot this year just about the young players, and I don't know, we're 12 games into this now. I think how important was it for you this year, in your first year on the job, to get the exposure to the young players, to see what they can do, and to see broken players like Kool-Aid, who's a big tackle on 4th down. For where you want to take those things.
Yeah. From a developmental standpoint, we understand there's some developing that we're doing. There's some young guys that have made huge strides. Kool-Aid's made some big-time plays. Quincy, as close of an interception as you can have in a game. They're right there. And so, the back end, Jonas is playing a ton of snaps, and so he's going to get to experience all the highs and lows of an NFL season this year. And so what I think what we're fortunate to have is these young guys are, getting better each and every week. And then they have these veterans who have been here and have done a lot of good for this organization for a ton of years, or a lot of years, excuse me. And they're really, embracing bringing these guys along, and the leadership's been excellent. To have Cam and to see him have the 2 sacks in this game, and him to keep rushing the way he's been rushing, and DeMario the way he leads. Godchow, coming over from New England, and he makes a couple big time plays in that 4-minute stop to give us a chance. What I think is this nice blend of these young guys are coming up, but they're coming up with this leadership of these veteran guys who've kind of helped us along the way, which, I think while you're frustrated with the lack of wins, and that's ultimately everyone's goal, there's a bunch of these good, small, stackable things that we're able to kind of build off of. And, every guy's going to be frustrated when you lose. That's the goal of this thing. As far as if you don't get frustrated, then you're probably not in the right situation. Every single guy comes into this thing wanting to win each week, and that's our goal. And so, while we're doing that, some of these young guys are going to get some awesome exposure.
Charlie, and obviously, you guys don't have an active kicker on your roster, so is this a week-to-week thing, or did he do it?
Yeah, we'll let it progress. Obviously, we feel really good about Charlie, and I think that he's earned the right to continue to kick, and so we'll let that thing play itself out. Charlie did an awesome job. That kick was phenomenal. His onside kick was phenomenal. He's an awesome kid that I think everyone's rooting for.
I know you guys were able to get the turnover with Kool-Aid, but how important is it, I guess, to not only get the turnover, but continue to force the 3 and outs and get off the field?
Hey, man, we just wanted to play, good defense to give our offense a chance, to give ourselves a chance. And, I think when you hold teams to field goals in a red zone, you see what can happen. I feel like they're at the end of the game. We gave ourselves a chance. I think if, you take the field goals away and you're giving up touchdowns in those situations, I think it changes the outcome. So I think we played really good red zone defense, and we kept those guys to field goals, which obviously at the end of the game gave us a chance to win.
How have you seen Kool-Aid and Quincy kind of just grow into their role and take apart?
They're growing really good. I think they click really well together. They have a really good relationship off the field, which I think that just complements what they do well on the field. They're going to be 2 really good corners in this system, and one of the best duos in the league.
How does liking each other on the field kind of help on it?
A lot, man. I think if you trust each other off the field, you'll trust each other on the field. And just from them hanging out and building that relationship off the field has allowed them to go on the field and play with confidence and build each other up when they make good plays and things like that.
It's like when you're talking about like going from touchdowns to field goals, is that a way you feel like this defense has kind of evolved this season or grown, that you are now in a position to?
Yeah, I feel like, obviously we've had some touchdowns on us, but, I think when we hold a lot of teams to field goals, we ultimately give ourselves a chance to win the game there toward the end. It's a 4-quarter game, man. I mean, you give up the first touchdown, you give up 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, but you give up field goals for the rest of the game. I think, it gives ourselves a chance to win. Still, it's not like teams are just going down. I mean, you kind of seen the situation of the game. They had the ball in pretty good field positions at times, but we played good defense. And, some teams might have folded in those situations and given up touchdowns. But one thing about our defense is we keep coming back and, our numbers called and we go out there and play.